Hello students, welcome to the answer writing program. So today we will be discussing 3 questions from Science in Tech, that is GS3, and the topic is awareness in the fields of IT, space, computers, robotics, nanotechnology, biotechnology and issues related to IPR, intellectual property rights. Okay, so let's take an overview of all the 3 questions. So the very first question is related to the nanotechnology, second question is related to robotics, and the third question is related to space sustainability. So let's start our discussion. So let's start with the very first question. Nanotechnology is based on changing physical and chemical properties of matter at nanoscale. So we need to discuss the multifaceted applications of nanotechnology. This is the demand 1 of this question. And also we need to mention some potential issues in the use of nanotechnology. This is demand 2 of our question. So the question is on nanotechnology, means the technology that manipulates the matter or it controls the matter at the nanoscale level. It means the 1/1000th of the part. It means the technology that enhances the properties of the matter at this particular range, 1 to 100 nanometers. Like this is some matter. We divide it into the nanoscale level so as to enhance its properties, its characteristics, its reactivity, its strength, means we are changing its material properties. So this is nanotechnology. So you can start in the introduction, you can start with the definition that what is nanotechnology. It is about manipulating, controlling the matter at the nanoscale level. For what purpose we do and what are the properties that handles this nanomaterial. It holds the unique and enhanced characteristics at the nanoscale. Okay, it means like if we divide this some matter at the nanoscale level, maybe this matter at the macro scale it's not reactive, it is inert, but if we divide it into the nanoscale level, its reactivity increases, its properties changes. Maybe one time this material is an insulator, at the other point it's a conductor, also showing the activities of the semiconductor. Okay, so this is why we change the matter's properties or we divide it into the nanoscale level. So this is the nanotechnology. Starting with the body, you need to write about the applications of nanotechnology. So if we are dividing some matter into the nano scale, it means we are strengthening its properties, we are strengthening the characteristics. So it has the multiple potential in the various sectors of the economy, that wherever we can use this nanotechnology. Let's take an example of the medicines and healthcare. Like if there are the cancer cells in the body, so what we can do with this nanotechnology, like we can encapsulate our drug into this nano tube or the nanoparticle and directly hit the target, so that it does not hamper the nearby good cells, healthy cells, but only attacks or puts its position on the cancerous cells. So for the targeted drug delivery, we can use this nanotechnology using the nanoparticles. Okay. Next is about agriculture. So India has come up with the nano liquid urea. What we have done is, like the urea particles we spread in our farms is like approximately at a macro level, or the in few millimeters it is of the diameter. But what we have done is we have converted it into the nano liquid urea, so as now the very smallest particle also has the higher reactivity. It means with the less quantity of this urea, now we can increase the fertilizer effect in our farms. It means now with the less quantity of urea, now we can use it in farms to enhance its efficiency, to increase the productivity. So the cost requirement is reduced now in agriculture. Next is about electronics and computing. Again, we can use the miniaturization. We can do the nano transistors, nano capacitors, nano semiconductors. We can use it in up to into our chipsets and reduce the sizes of our electronic products, of our manufactured industrial products. Like we have used this quantum dots for the high resolution displays. Next is about environment monitoring and strengthening and the sensing. So what this nanotechnology can also used as the nano sensors for detecting the pollutants, for taking measures with respect to these pollutants in the wetlands also. Next is about energy. Now these nanoparticles can increase the efficiency in the solar power plants also, into the solar cells also. Next is about the material sciences. Now we have already discussed that how these nanoparticles has changed the properties, the characteristics, its reactivity at the nanoscale. So we can use it into the material sciences, that to enhance the material or the mechanical strength and conductivity. Example, nano coating for improved surface properties, to take care of corrosion effects. Okay. Moving on to the next part is about the potential issues in the use of nanotechnology. So the very first is about the health and the safety concerns, because they are of the very small size. So they can enter the food chain and impact our health. So they have the toxic properties of some nano material. And next is about the nanopollution. Nanopollution is a generic term of all the ways that have come out of this nano materials or the nanoparticles. So the waste generated by the nano devices or during the nanomaterial manufacturing process, now due to its very small size, they are very difficult to manage and filter out the nano waste. Due to their small size, so it has the huge challenge on the environment. Okay. Next is about the air pollution issues due to these nanoparticles. The next challenge with respect to the nanotechnology in India is about the lack of the standardization, lack of regulation. Till now, we do not have the very particular rules and the guidelines for this nanotechnology. Next is about the security impact. Because we are aware that this nanotechnology can be used for increasing the characteristics, the properties, the reactivity at the nanoscale. So maybe it can use for the nano weapons, nanonuclear nukes, poses a serious threat to the establishment of the national importance and can be utilized by the adversaries to spread terror, because there are the security issues associated with this nanotechnology. Next is about a risk of grey goose. It means we are developing the technology at this nanoscale. It means it is a scenario where there is a disastrous like activities going on, where there is a rapid and destructive replication of this tiny nanoparticles that consumes the living organisms for their requirements, for their energy needs. So this can happen, grey goo. Okay, so you can also write about this. Next is about conclusion. Now we have dealt with the potential benefits of the nanotechnology, then followed by the challenges or the issues. Then in conclusion, you can write some way forward, like how we can address these challenges. So we need to invest in the R&D. We need to come up with the proper guidelines, proper measures that we need to take care of this nanotechnology, so that it does not result into some nano nukes and the nano weapons. Weaponization should not be done. Okay, so we need to establish the robust safety regulations, interdisciplinary collaborations should be there, and we need to engage the different stakeholders so as to take care of the ethical, social and the environmental concerns. Okay, moving on to the model answer. This model answer is telling something about the introduction, and introduction is the definition based, then applications in the medicine, agriculture, etc. We have already discussed this. Then potential issues, then finally some conclusion. Okay, moving on to the second question. How can robotics as a multidisciplinary technology, it means they can be used in the various disciplines, potentially revolutionize various sectors and industries in India? It means we need to write about the usage or the applicability. Next, the second is about, additionally, we need to highlight the challenges within the Indian robotics ecosystem that demands immediate attention. So this is the demand too. Okay. So in introduction, you can start with the very basic definition of the robotics, or you can define some, you can put some data with respect to the increase of the robotics installation in India and the rank of robotics installation of India in the global arena. So now let's understand what is a robot. Like, it is an automated machine that do the specific tasks with or without the human intervention. Okay, so it may be some humanoid, like human-like looking structure, or it can be the automated machines. And also with respect to this robotics, the allied technology is like artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, etc. So with all of these, we increase the efficiencies of the robotics mechanism. And also you can write about that India is taking the advancements in the robotics ecosystem for the sustainable and inclusive development, and India is increasing its robotics installments by 54% in 2021, ranking 10th globally. You can put some data in the introduction. Okay. Moving on to the body part, you need to write about the scope of robotics in India. So again, you can write some various dimensions, various sectors, various parts, that where this robotics can increase the efficiency of that particular sector. Like with respect to agriculture. Yesterday also and day before yesterday, we have seen that how precision agriculture, the technology used in the agriculture can increase the efficiency, can increase the farming income. So how this precision agriculture can be done? It's a machine only, so we can make some use of the artificial intelligence. We can make it as a autonomous machines. So we can use the robotics into that precision farming. For what? For the precision sowing, for the weed removal, for spraying, irrigation, sorting and packaging. Okay, next is about education. Education in Hyderabad also, we have seen in news that one robot as a teacher has come up in the Hyderabad, one of the school of the Hyderabad, just for the communication, to increase the critical thinking of the students. Like let's take an example of ChatGPT. We can ask as many questions from the ChatGPT and they answer also. Maybe sometimes it's not appropriate, but at least they answer. We cannot just interact this way with respect to the humans, like with respect to our teachers. We cannot ask just anything in the classes. So what we can do with the robots also, because they are also internalized with some structures, with some softwares, they reply to you, they communicate with you. So whatever the questions in your mind are, like with the very basic question, what is the organisms, what are the different cells, how it is different from the, like how the plant organism or the plant cell is different from the animal cell. You can ask as many questions with respect to the robots also. So it enhances the critical thinking, it enhances the creativity amongst the students. So it promotes the active engagement, it promotes the critical thinking. You can quote some examples also. Next is about the manufacturing sector. We can automate for the mundane activities like assembling, like packaging. We can automate it. That is a robotics only. Like automation in the electronics, automotive, pharmaceuticals, etc. We can automate the repetitive tasks like the material handling and assembly. Next is about biotechnology. We can use the robots in the surgery also, targeted drug delivery also, taking care of the patients, like precision surgery, rehabilitation, diagnostics and drug discoveries. Next is about the military and the security. We can install some autonomous system on our borders to do the surveillance of the border activities. We can use it for the surveillance, for the monitoring, for intelligence transmission. We can deploy the robotic surveillance mechanism in monitoring the terrorist activities. Next is about the space and aviations. Like India has come up with the female humanoid, like this Vyom Mitra for the unmanned Gaganyaan mission. So this female looking humanoid robot will go with the Gaganyaan mission in the space. So we can do the on-orbit construction with respect to this robotics, maintenance and the planetary explorations. Okay. Next is about the disaster response. We can use the robots in the searching operations, in the earthquake tracking, and in the disaster risk mitigation efforts. Finally, we need also to write about the major challenges of the Indian robotics ecosystem. Now, what are the different challenges with respect to the Indian robotics system? Like, there are the issues with respect to the technological advancements. There are the limitation in the technology. We are at the very nascent stage of the research and the development with respect to the ecosystem. So this hampers the large form of robotics ecosystem, so that we can adopt this ecosystem, because there are the very less technological advancements. So what we can write in the next section about in the way forward or the conclusion, that we need to do the expenditure, huge expenditure for this technological advancements. We need to do the international collaboration so as to import the technology with respect to the robotics. Next is about the investment barriers, because this robotics, first thing, they are at the nascent stage. Again, when the technology is not very developed, it is costly. And second is about, because this is the new age technology, so this bears very high cost for the hardware and training. Next is about, we have the shortage of the skilled workforce with respect to the robotics. Again, this hampers the growth. Next is about the absence of the standards. We have the absence of the dedicated legislation for the robotics and the allied technology like the artificial intelligence. So this poses the privacy and the security risks, which hampers the widespread adoption of robotics. Coming on to the conclusion, we can write about the way forward, like whatever the challenges are there in the ecosystem of the robotics. If we find out the solution, we can write the way forward, that we need to invest in this particular thing, like we need to invest in the technologies, we need to make some good investments, we need to train our workforce, and we need to come up with the regulations. So writing that thing only, so that we need to enforce, or we need to come up with the moonshoot project. Now, what are these moonshoot projects? These are the very large, risky and the time consuming projects that aims to achieve something previously unthinkable. Means India should invest in the ambitious research initiatives that integrates AI. It means we have not done yet, but we need to boost these projects, because it has the very high or the bright future. This is the outcome is like unthinkable outcome. So we need to invest in those projects. Those projects are named as the moonshoot projects. We just give the term as a moonshoot. Then it's about the skilling initiatives. We need to establish the dedicated robotics engineering programs. Then R&D collaboration. We need to come up with the different stakeholders approach. We need to include the private sector, the international partners, etc. Then institutional framework, because there is an absence of the guidelines, the rules, regulations at the national level in India also. So we need to streamline our regulations. We need to streamline our framework. Okay. So this way our second question is over. Coming on to the model answer, starting with some data that how and where India stands at the global scale in the robotics ecosystem, then scope of robotics in India, then major challenges and way forward. Okay. Moving on to the third question. What do you understand about the space sustainability? So this is the demand one. Next is about how does this orbital crowding and space debris work against the sustainability of the outer space. This is demand 2. Then we need to suggest some measures for the space sustainability. This is demand 3. So space sustainability, in the word itself, the sustainable use of the space. It means we need to make sure that the future generation also can use the space resources. First thing. Then second thing is about the orbital crowding. Means we are crowding, means increasing the satellites, the spacecraft, the space objects in the orbit revolving the earth. First is about the orbital crowding. It means we are crowding with the space objects. We are crowding the orbit. Next is about space debris. Space debris is about the unused space objects. The whatever is there left in the space which is not required now and which cannot come onto the earth. So the space debris, so these two things, the orbital crowding and the space debris, this works against the sustainability of the outer space. How? We will write this in the demand 2. Next, we need to write about the measures that how we can ensure the space sustainability. Okay. So starting with the introduction, you can write some background with respect to why this question is being asked. Because there is a space race, as we have seen in the cold era time also. And also at presently, there are the increasing satellites and objects in the orbit that poses the challenges to the space sustainability. Over 26,000 objects larger than 10 centimeter and 5 lakh pieces of the debris smaller than 1 centimeter is there in the orbit. It means we are telling about that the orbital crowding and space debris. We are giving whatever is asked in the question, we are giving the data relevant to that. Then these things poses the challenges with respect to the space resources and the sustainability. So you are setting the context in the introduction. Moving on to the body part, this will make a good flow. Okay. So starting with the very first thing about the what is the space sustainability. It is about the responsible use of the space resources. It is about the long-term use of the space resources so that we are securing it for the future generations as well. How we can do this? Via safe and sustainable operations, via proper management of the space debris, and also with respect to the international cooperation and collaboration in the space activities. Okay. Moving on to the second body part, that how these two things work against the sustainability of the outer space. Very first thing, when we crowd the orbit, it means we are putting so many things, so many space objects, satellites, spacecrafts in the orbit. It means we are doing the crowding of orbit, like orbital crowding. So what it results into? There will be the increased risk of collision, and when two space objects collides, it increases the debris amount, and when debris increases, again there is an increased risk of collision between the different space objects. So this is a cascading effect, one leading to another. This is known as the Kessler's syndromes. That how orbital crowding results into the space debris, and space debris how it results into the cascading effect of more and more debris. So this is the Kessler syndrome we term as. So there is a this is against the sustainability of space resources, first thing. Then second thing is about when we are crowding our orbit and when we are increasing the debris, it means it is increasing the congestion in the space, which hampers the future missions also, which can hampers the weather forecasting, communication satellites, etc. for the future generations and also for the present times also. Next is about risk to the astronauts because of the increasing impact of the radiations, whatever there with respect to the different spacecraft, different space objects, there are the higher risks of the increased radiations for the astronauts. Next, Kessler syndrome we have already discussed. So we need to take the measures for the space sustainability. First is about establishing the international agreements. So all the countries need to come on the same platform, that how we can ensure the sustainable use of the space, so that not even the one nation go for the space race, increases the debris, use the space for their some defense or the security projects that harms the other nation. So we need to come on the one platform, we need to sign some framework, or we need to come up on some agreement that ensures the sustainable use of the outer space. Next is about we need to minimize the space debris for whatever the past activities we have done, and how we can reduce the space debris in the future. So we need to come up with the new technologies that reduces the space debris, like we need to come up with the space debris removal system. Next is about we need to promote the sustainable use of the space resources. We need to develop some eco-friendly technologies. Next is about we need to come up with the reusable technologies like reusable rockets, reusable satellites, reusable rovers, so that it will not be left into the space to become a space debris. Okay. Then finally, conclusion, what you can write? You can write that what is the requirement, the importance of the space sustainability for the future space activities. So we need to do some collaborations with the international partners, the global partners, and the innovative technologies that are the pivotal, that plays the pivotal role in addressing those issues with respect to the space sustainability. Then we need to continue our efforts that are required for the responsible and the long-term use of the outer space. Okay, so this was the conclusion for this particular answer. Let's see the model answer, starting with the data, that how many objects are there with respect to the orbital, how we are crowding our orbits, then what is space sustainability, then how orbital crowding and space debris works against the sustainability of the outer space, then measures, then conclusion. Okay, so this was the discussion from my side for today. Thank you and have a nice day and keep writing.